Hello, first video of 2025. For those of you who are active on the Discord, much of what's going to be shown in this video is not going to be new to you, but for everyone else, a major component of the game I've been working on in the background over the last while is a change and overhaul to the navigation and mapping system. I'm admittedly a little torn on this, as I quite like the physicalized map that is in the game right now. However, I've got to recognize that there's a number of issues with it. Most of these issues stem from scaling issues, given that effectively this is an in-game object with an in-game texture. And to allow it to be something that can properly scale in and out is going to require a lot of overhead there to keep it functionally readable. And besides that entirely, as there are a few workarounds that could be used for that, it tends to suffer from problems relating to lighting artifacts, clutter, and just outright poor readability in a lot of conditions, especially for a larger game map that the game is going to have in the future. And the readability of POIs and that kind of thing. So I'm not intending to remove this system. However, as you can probably see on the side here, I've moved most of the more complex functionality to a new submenu. So you're still going to be able to see the map. You're still going to be able to take readings of longitude and latitude to find your position on the map. And I still intend to sort of update the visual side of this map to make it a little better looking. But the plotting and triangulation is moved to a different screen. So this is the rough draft of what that screen is going to look like. I do expect there will be significant changes made to this. As far as how it looks, it's quite a bit more conventionally gamey, I suppose you could say. But along with it, it provides quite a bit more direct functionality to the player, as well as in the background, a lot of changes to make it easier to scale on a project level. For example, changing points of interest and their locations in the map is far easier, as it's directly based on these objects out in the world. You'll see the cursor position indicates the longitude and latitude at the cursor position, as well as on the top left of the screen, it displays the longitude and latitude at the center of the screen. Mind the programmer art that currently comprises a lot of this. But you'll be able to access a radial menu to access the functionality previously included through buttons on the static map. So a plotting system has been introduced through which you can define various waypoints to outline a course, either a observed course or intended course. For example, you could plot out a course you would like to take, and then using your navigational tools, you could have a parallel course outlining how close you are to your desired waypoints, or what have you. It's, I think, fairly self-evident what the purpose of this is. And additionally to that, the triangulation system has been implemented to this map as well. If I can actually click the button. So this functions similarly, but a little bit differently. Let's get rid of these plots to make it a little easier to see. So at any defined reference point, you can place a pin effectively, and then with your mouse movement is going to be displayed the reverse heading angle. So effectively, this will output the heading to the reference point from the perspective of the observer. So for example, if your ship is approximately here, the nameless isle would be at a heading of 324 degrees. And then these points can be locked in, and if you're making a reference from multiple points, you can do that as many times as you like in an attempt to pin down exactly where the player is located. Now, still very much in the works, but an additional layer to this is going to be changes to the navigational tools that will allow you to mark down values. So, for example, if you are taking a triangulation reading to a specific waypoint, you can observe your map, point towards whatever object you're wanting to make, and through a left click, that point will be placed at that location. And then through the new map interface, you will see that set heading has been retained. And elevation would be the outputs from the quadrant, for example. Note that these are not automatically correct values or anything like that. Rather, what these are shorthand references so that you aren't forced to remember a bunch of numbers. They're not necessarily correct. It is still entirely left up to the player to do these measurements correctly, but that's another topic. It's simply there for player convenience. And as shown previously, the new map will also allow for fairly standard functions such as zooming and panning of the camera. And more functionality will be coming to this map in the future, like the ability to place your own points of interest on the map, or hopefully to leave notes as well. And probably the biggest function that isn't quite ready to show yet is going to be fast travel. Now, a couple other things I wanted to go over that are either in the works, completed, or soon upcoming would be I've made some changes to the sort of world lighting and fog. This should hopefully reduce the horizon fade, as well as improve overall visibility and view distance. Hotkeys have been added for your radial item tools so that they can be brought up more easily. What may be obvious from this view is I'm working on additional weather types as well as additional sea states. This isn't just bigger waves, but also entirely separate wave types like big smooth rollers and heavy chop, that kind of thing. So that's in progress. And the main thing I wanted to go over, as I alluded to in the section on the map, is a major component of the game that I haven't really talked about in the past, is the fast travel system. I feel it's going to be a bit of a contentious topic, since I recognize a lot of people would prefer for no such system to exist. But at the same time, I feel that it's ease of access is helpful for a lot of play styles. It's an entirely optional system, but one that I've put a fair amount of thought into. So essentially how it's going to work is on the new map, the more detailed map, you will be able to define a set of coordinates and automatically travel to that point. The cost of doing this is going to be your ship provisions, including a number of those provisions that currently, for those of you who have played the demo, have no function, like repair materials, canvas, timber, that kind of thing. You're going to need these materials to fast travel, and they will be consumed during the course of fast travel, with the rates depending largely on how far you're going and a few other factors. And a second layer to this is going to be a what I'm currently calling an encounter system. Think the sort of travel interrupts like you see in a lot of older tabletop-based RPGs. A lot of the games made by Owlcat have been doing that recently, for example. These are going to be more heavily curated scenes, things that are either impossible or full of many issues to implement in the fully open world. So effectively instanced areas where unique things can happen. These can be anything from dangerous encounters to just things there to be visually interesting to see. That's not to say that there won't be anything like that in their open world. There will, but these will be curated scenes, essentially. This does not mean the Kraken, though. There are no sea monsters in this setting. But yeah, I just wanted to go over these changes to the map, as especially on the Discord, I've had a lot of back and forth and varying opinions on these changes, and I've tried to reflect some of the concerns from those in the changes I've shown here. And lastly, I wanted to give a heartfelt and personalized thank you to Cameron Worthy, RG Locke, Nathan Hoy, XCow13, Ryan Russell, Odin the Wanderer, Hunaga Hoogs, Dan Harrison, and Impossible Package for their past and present contributions on Patreon. It is very much appreciated, you guys, though by no means demanded. Any contributions are very much appreciated. But in any event, I wanted to thank everyone again for watching, and I shall see you all soon.